Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound with you. Thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. And as you can see here, we've got 3 more fantastic bourbons to look at today. These are going to be from the Four Roses Distillery. The one thing to know about Four Roses, they like to advertise that they use 10 different recipes in their bourbons, okay? What they're basically saying is they actually have 5 different mash bills, they have 5 different yeast strains, and they combine to make 10 separate recipes, okay? They age those, and each recipe might have a little more rye, one might have a little more corn in the mash bill, and what they do is, you know, those different values are going to actually affect the amount of fruit that's going to be found in one might have a little more mint, one's definitely going to be a little spicier with the higher rye content, and so that's all they do. They have 10 different recipes that they like to use in their batch blends, just to be able to customize and get exactly the flavors that they're looking for in the barrel. So here we are with Four Roses, single barrel, so we're going to start with 100 proof bourbon. Should be really excited to try that one. Next we have Four Roses. This is a limited edition from 2010, small batch. It is a barrel strength bourbon bottled at 55.1 ABV, 110.2 proof. Then we're going to slow things down with their oldest bourbon that I have, the 2009 Marage. Again, limited edition, it's barrel strength bottling, bottled at 54.8 ABV. So just a little bit less than the small batch. So let's go ahead and get started on the nosing, starting with the single barrel. Great nose on the single barrel, at least on this one. Again, all single barrels might be a little different, the bottle I have versus the one you pick up, but has big red raspberry, dark cherry, a hint of really ripe plum in the background, strong vanilla note, good caramel, and a nice medium amount of oak in there. So it's a really well balanced bourbon. You know, when you just think of a bourbon, bang, that's about what that smelled like. Very, very nice. Next, we're going to go with the small batch. Deeper on the vanilla. First thing I noticed, really deep vanilla and a little stronger on the cherry note. The oak has slightly, just a touch bit more oak than this one, but it works really well since the vanilla is stronger, so it tends to just mesh just a little better on the flavors. Again, the red raspberries are still piling up in there. And a hint of caramel as well. Very, very nice. You know, it being 10 points higher in the ABV than this one, than the proof than this one, you would expect it to be definitely an amount, you know, higher on the nose as far as the alcohol. I don't really get that. It is, you can tell it's maybe a little bit warmer, but not by very much, so it's really, really nice. Next, the 2009 Miriage. By far the sweetest of the 3 on the nose. Again, the cherry is even bolder. It's amazing how much more rich this one is than this one, because this one was fantastic. But the plum is stronger, the cherry is stronger. The oak has gained a little, and I'm not getting as much vanilla in this one. I'm getting more of a nougat, more of a toffee type aroma in this one, to complement those really nice red fruits. So let's get to the taste. Single barrel. It's a warm one. Really lighting up the tongue. But as far as the flavors, the oak is very predominant. I get a lot of oak in this one. It's a It's a little below a medium sweet to me as far as the actual sweetness. It's very sweet on the nose, not so much on the palate, which is very good for a lot of bourbon drinkers. They don't prefer their stuff too sweet. It's actually, when the red fruit definitely roll up in there along with the oak, but the oak tends to stand out just a little more in the flavors. And then towards the very end, I'm getting the tobacco and a maybe a hint of leather in there as well, but I'm thinking more like loose leaf tobacco, not cigar box, just loose leaf tobacco on this one. Next, small batch. The strongest of the three in the alcohol, and it does have that little vibrance to it, kind of like a weak George T. Stagg, how it just evaporates off the tongue just a little bit. But as far as the actual flavors on it, very nicely balanced. The oak doesn't stick out as much as it was doing on the single barrel. It's a little more enveloped in the dark cherry and the red raspberry flavors. Caramel is in there as well. Kind of lingers in the background. It's not very predominant. The oak is a nice medium. Like I said, it's well balanced again. The oak is in there, but it's kind of lingering in the background as well. Tobacco is coming on the finish. Perhaps not as strong as the single barrel on the tobacco note, but it's definitely there. I'm not getting as much leather. Overall, it's a really, really nice bourbon. High proof. It is warm. I don't know how much of that I could drink in one night, but it is very, very good. So let's go ahead and step up to the Marage. That's the best of the three, pretty hands down here today. Again, really big cherry and red raspberry and plum right up front. The caramel is definitely a little stronger than the small batch version. Again, it's almost like a toffee type note going on. As far as the actual texture in the mouth, it is the creamiest of the three. Matter of fact, this one would have been the lightest and then followed by the small batch, but this one is, I would almost describe it as oily. Even though it's a high alcohol strength bourbon, it goes down really nice. It doesn't really burn on the way down. It's kind of like when this one hit my tongue, it really warmed up the tongue. This one, it's just so full of flavor. I don't think you have time to really think about the alcohol. As far as on the finish, I get a hint of mint on this one. There is a tobacco note, but to me that's more of like a cigar box. You know, when the humidor kind of gets that, it's kind of like a vanilla mixed in with the tobacco. Really, really pleasant. That's what I'm getting in this one. Again, this one was kind of reminded me of just a cigar tobacco, loose leaf tobaccos, but not this one. This one's getting a little more refined. Maybe a hint of cedar in there as well. Yeah, the mint's definitely there. The mint actually shows up about mid-palate. And then the finish is left with the cigar box and the cedar. complementing the fruit. The fruit really never really die in this one. It lasts a really long time. So overall, as you can see by the glasses, I think I like this one the best, followed by the small batch, and then my single barrel. Again, single barrels are going to be hit and miss. You're going to find, you know, really nice honey barrels that are really going to hit the spot, and then you might find one that's just not quite as good. So if you find one that's really good, you might want to go back to that store and buy a few more and stock up. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching another one of my YouTube videos. Everybody have a good evening, and cheers.